Well, this is one hell of a way to end the quarantine. Riots, looting, and police firing upon unarmed protesters.
Why?
Police killed another unarmed black man without reason. I get if you feel numb to this. I mean, it seems to happen every time we go around the river bend.
Why?
Well, that is the question we all should be asking. Now listen, Jim Bob. I know your brother-in-law is a cop and a damn good one. So please hear me out before you assume this is another cop-bashing video. The issues run deeper than the police just being racist. I also understand that those under attack for the color of their skin do not want to listen to someone defending the police. But it is the refusal to try and understand one another that is the problem. See, police follow orders. When you see them leaving those volatile and mostly white quarantine revolt protesters alone, there is a reason for that. Before the police are dispatched to a location for services, they are given orders by their higher-ups that they must obey. The police officers are not the ones who make up the plans on how to handle these protesters. They are ordered to respond this way. The police are part of the problem, but the bigger problem are the ones training and giving these mindless sheep their orders.
Get your gear. Let's go.
You heard him, gear up. Captain just gave you an order.
Yeah. Like the one he gave to take this machine gun. That was a real doozy, wasn't it, Sarge?
Soldier, you are way out of line.
Yes, sir. That was one hell of a call coming to take this nest, but the hell, we only lost one of our guys going for it. I swear, I hope Mama Ryan's real fucking happy knowing that little Jimmy's life is a little bit more important than two of our guys. But then again, we haven't found them yet, have we? Have we? Here you go. Get the hell off me.
Bribing, get up. Gear up. Fall in.
I'm done with this mission.
Hey! Hey!
Sir.
Don't you walk away from your captain. Bribing, get back in line.
Yes, sir. I'll spend the rest of my life in the stockade if I have to, but I'm done with this.
I'm not gonna ask you again, soldier.
Captain! Now this is bullshit.
Fall in!
You gonna shoot me over, Ryan?
No, I'm gonna shoot you because I don't like you.
Sir, listen, if he wants to go, just let him
You
go.
gonna shoot me?
Are you letting this happen? Captain, you see this?
Captain, sir,
Goddamn.
sir, Ryan's dead.
Bullshit. So we have a situation.
This bullshit.
Get in on.
Captain, I have a sixth sense about these things. I know it in my bones.
If we don't kill that son of a bitch crap, now you're gonna shoot me.
Huh? He's better than you.
Then why don't you just do it, Sarge? Do it, man. Put one in my leg and give me that $1 million.
I'm gonna shoot you in your big goddamn mouth!
Well, put your money where your mouth is and do it then.
Shut
Do
up.
it.
You don't know
Pull
how
the
to
trigger
shut up.
already.
Captain, please.
What's the pool on me up to?
I'll do it. I will do it. You are a coward, son of a bitch!
I'm waiting, Sarge.
Sarge,
I'm
what's
waiting.
the pool on me up to right now? What's it up to? What is it, $300? Is that it? 300? I'm a school teacher. I teach English composition. This little town called Abley, Pennsylvania. In the last 11 years, I've been at Thomas Alva Edison High School. I was a coach of the baseball team in the springtime. Back home, and I tell people what I do for a living, and they think, well, nah, that figures. But over here, it's a big mystery. So I guess I've changed some. Sometimes I wonder if I've changed so much, my wife is even going to recognize me whenever it is I get back to her. and how I'll ever be able to tell her about days like today. Ryan, I don't know anything about Ryan. I don't care. Man means nothing to me. It's just a name. But if, if going to Ramel and finding him so he can go home, if that earns me the right to get back to my wife, well, then that's my mission. You want to leave? You want to go off and fight the war? All right. All right, I won't stop you. I'll even put in the paperwork. I just know that every man I kill, the farther away from home I feel.
Yes, police are mindless sheep, but I can't really blame them for that. See, police are human beings. They're not superheroes. Some of them are heroes, but none of them are anything more than you or I. They simply are given far more power and leniency than the rest of us. And what happens when you enable someone for too long? They end up making poor, impulsive choices. This is a time-tested psychological response, and if my dumb ass can understand that, why the deuce do those in charge of the police not see this? I am sickened when I see an officer take a life for no reason, but hating those officers, as deplorable as they may be, will never change the horrendous problem that plagues this country like a bad case of herpes. We should be angry when we see an officer take a life for no reason. We should be angry when police greet protesters with violence instead of compassion. But that anger must be pointed in the right direction. The protests to halt the stay-at-home order were handled exactly how each of these police brutality protests should be handled. The police were there to peacefully contain the protesters and allow them to speak their mind, no matter how loud or volatile they got. The police were ordered to keep the peace, or in other words, do the job we are told they are here to do. That is how they should be ordered to respond. They were clearly told if they responded violently, there would be hell to pay. So why are the other officers given totally opposite orders? Why are those in charge keeping the peace when it suits them and unleashing hell when they feel like it? What purpose does this serve? If you wanted to divide the citizens from those who are supposed to protect us, then I could see it suiting that purpose. But while a part of me would love to believe that, I do not think it's the ultimate goal. I think it's a sad byproduct of the fear that those in power lead by. Protests regarding the stay-at-home order are handled differently, not because of the color of the protester's skin, but because those protests do not carry the same consequences that protests against police violence carry. Police are here to uphold order and law. While we are told it's the other way around, the truth is that police are more like glorified babysitters than defenders of justice. There is something wrong with our society, with the way we are living, and these issues with the police are a glaring example of that. Lucky for me, I'm not one of those conspiracy theorists who's lost all hope. I mean, I got me some theories, but I like to be more practical and understanding than those coked out conspiracy nuts. I just smoke a bowl and say, you know what? Things are fucked, but it's not the end of the world, and that gives me hope that we can fix the bad things so the good things can shine as brightly as they should. Of course, you don't have to agree with me, but what harm is there in hearing another point of view? When a cop kills an unarmed black man, the cop may have had racist intentions. He could have been careless. He could also have made a mistake that he regrets more than any of us could ever know. But what about those in charge who could start changing the way our officers are trained? what about those in power who could simply come out when something like this happens and say, "This is a tragedy, and this tragedy happened because our police officers are normal human beings put in extraordinary situations"? It is clear that we need to reevaluate our methods and training so that we can ensure all citizens feel protected instead of oppressed. Well, the issue with that is it openly admits that our justice system is flawed. The issue with that is those in power fear if we know how flawed our system is, will only want to smash it down and create anarchy out of their imperfect system of order. But I believe that people only create disorder due to fear and panic. You can plainly see that during the riots in Minneapolis. What was to be a peaceful protest, a rally to express all that these citizens feel is wrong with the system, is turned into utter chaos because the police are there to halt these citizens' expression of free speech, because these issues are thought to be too dangerous to be discussed with civility. To me, it seems that those in power think we're all fucking raving baboons. And I don't mean that in a racial way. I mean they think we're so dang primal that they assume when we find out our system is flawed and needs some work, we just say,
Come on, Boogie, let's burn this motherfucker down! Boogie, let's burn this motherfucker down! Let's burn it!
well, burning it all to the ground is fun, I totally won't lie. Have none of y'all played a video game before? Come on, we all know giving in to those primal urges is fun shit. Which is why video games exist. We learn that human beings need an outlet for our more primal urges, so that we can function as the supposedly intelligent beings we are supposed to be. We have to face it. Humanity is growing up. I mean, we're not grown up yet. We like to think we're all grown up and mature, but maturity and growing is a continual process. Humanity has grown leaps and bounds from the biblical days. I mean, just think about it for 1 second. If we were back in BC times, and instead of simply trying to destroy Dave Chappelle's career, they'd literally have crucified his black ass. So that's proof enough that we have come further than we think. Still, if we refuse to try and understand the issues that are halting progress, then progress will remain stalled until we grow up a little more. See, we have to be mad as hell to begin with. We have to get angry because when you get angry, that means you care so dang much that you've become overwhelmed with emotion, and those emotions turn to violent anger, which, contrary to popular belief, is actually a good thing. The anger that those protesting the stay-at-home order felt was allowed to be heard and understood. Even if it was not agreed with, they still listened and understood it. And that allowed the anger to naturally dissipate without ever turning truly violent. But what happens when that anger is blended with fear? Well, that's when a riot pops off or when an innocent black man is shot dead in the street. Anger is a natural part of life. It is our response to anger that is unnatural. If someone's angry, they have a reason for it, and while you don't have to agree with the reason, you still should try and understand that reason. After all, what harm is there in understanding?
Good evening. Good to have you with us. We're always glad to know that there are some people who want to be instructed. People who don't like the idea of believing that the policemen are the protector of the people, and firemen by the same token. Although I will grant you, firemen and policemen have certain duties which are at times very helpful to the average citizen. But I'm not speaking of these oddball times. After all, how many times in your life have you ever been held up on the streets? How many times have you been stopped in your car by a highwayman? How many times can you say that you have actually been in need of a policeman? Very few, I offer, and I think you will concur. And we are entitled, I think, to a little explanation as to how these people spend their days. Now, when was the last time you looked at a cop and you looked them from head to toe and you thought, geez, I'm in better shape if I try to protect myself? Let us face it, there are a lot of cops with completely gray heads, guys who are just about 5 or 3 or 2 years away from their pensions, and they can do nothing. If, as they say in the comic books, quote, a desperado, unquote, was to confront them, they'd shit in their pants and probably get their gray head shot off. I mean, we can do without this thing. If we're going to have a police force, let us live up to the word police. To police means to keep in order, to protect. There are old, gray-looking bastards, guys that couldn't even protect themselves, much less you and me, patrolling the streets under the pretense of being policemen. This is shameful, really. Now, frankly, I could care less about the police department itself, but I just don't like the fact that we are being fooled. We are supposed to believe that the police department is here to protect us. These guys are pretty stupid. Firemen are no better than cops. Next time you go to a fire, don't watch the fireman who is carrying the hose or swinging the axe. Don't watch those guys. Those guys obviously have things to do. Keep your eye on the fireman that doesn't seem to have too much to do, because the odds are, after that guy who has not too much to do has been in your parlor 20 minutes, he's got half of the small articles of your parlor in his pocket. That's right. Firemen are pretty close to being as dishonest as the average dirty goddamn cop. Your dirty, stupid policeman that can't even work in the A&P. He's got to be a cop. You know what I mean? Don't trust him. Well, first of all, we all know from birth that we don't trust cops. And we all know some of the tricks of policemen. We all know how they will pull their badge on you and give you a bad time. We know that cops are basically full of shit because you can tempt and taunt the average cop and he'll give up. Okay? We know this. Okay. You can never expect to get a fair shake from anything that is involved with government. There is nobody who has ever run a government who has ever been fair and righteous. Don't ever leave yourself open to these people because they're dirty. That's a funny word, dirty. That's very basic. But they are. They're dirty and they're no goddamn good. In America, people answer to each other. There are very few individuals left in America. I happen to believe that I am one of them. You may think you are one of them. An individual is a person who thinks and acts for himself. Now, there are a lot of people who think for themselves. A lot of people who think for themselves. Boy, they're great. They watch Marlboro commercials or Chesterfield or something, and they say, boy, I'm a man, I think for myself. But thinking for yourself doesn't make you an individual. No. No, sir. In order to be an individual, you must not only think for yourself, you must plan for yourself. And you must plan ahead, and you must live up to these plans. You must know exactly what you want to do.
Where do y'all think you're going? You boys are fugitives of my county, and I'm gonna take you back.
Oh, no!
I don't think so. You're in my jurisdiction now, Sheriff Butt Breath.
Wow, Joe, how'd you pull that off?
I put in a call from the McDaniels payphone while you guys were getting that 9-piece chicken McFingers and those Diet Conks and those fresh fries.
Oh, come on, they don't own French fries.
You know, you got some nerve driving around my town with a busted headlight. And a busted windshield. And an untreated flesh wound. You took an oath just the same as me, Sheriff. To protect and serve, not to harass and douche. Just because you have a badge doesn't mean you can treat people any way you like. And as a law enforcement professional, you have an obligation to be more ethically upstanding than the average man, not less. Now get the hell out of my town.
Nice going, Joe.
Well, it's great being back in the North, where people are civilized.
Hey, what are you guys all on a date?
Gay!